There we are. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Carrow Road, where the sun is shining, at least for now. Norwich City in championship action this lunchtime against Southampton, 12:30 kickoff here at Carrow Road. We have the team news. We will bring it to you now. It is Vladan Kovacevic in goal, Fisher, McConville, Darling, and Krizene as the back four. Matson is joined by Kenny McLean, who does make the game after some slight worries about his fitness. Forson comes in on the right, Jacob Wright as a number 10, Oscar Schwartau and Jovan Kamma up front. So just to run through that again, Kovacevic in goal, Fisher, McConville, Darling and Krizene is the back four. Matson and McLean, the midfield two, with Forson right and Schwartau behind Jovan Kamma. Of course, he's in for Josh Sargent, who misses the game as he's kind of undergoing and serving the concussion protocols. The subs bench is Grimshaw, Medic, Cordoba, Jurasek, Slimani, Springett, Mundle-Smith, Marcondes, and Matthias Chrisgoren, who's back despite some what sounded initially like some really big concerns over his fitness. He makes the bench for Norwich City this afternoon. So, yeah, there we go. The headline there. McLean, I guess, in the side. Krizene with his first start since coming back from injury. And Matthias Chrisgoren on the bench, Paddy. How would you, what are your initial feelings with that team news?
Well, I think I've got 10 of the 11. I didn't think McLean would make it from Philippe's sense yesterday, although he did say, to be fair, at half-time at Bramall Lane that he wanted to continue, and it was almost the decision was taken out of his hands. I mean, you saw him after the game, and you said he looked like
he wasn't moving great.
He looked like a pensioner, didn't he?
Yeah.
No offence to pensioners, but his mobility was severely limited. So, testament to that man. He wants to be here. He wants to lead the team, and with him in, I thought that without McLean, it might have been Wright alongside Matson, and then maybe Marcondes comes in. But I do like Jacob Wright retained in the 10 because there was something definitely there to work with, albeit it was in tandem with Sargent at Bramall Lane until the change at half-time, which was forced upon them. But very intelligent, I thought, shift from him, in and out of possession. And that's worth stressing because that seemed to be where the flag came from Clement about Jacob Wright, about his defensive work, but the way he pressed in a 2 out of possession with Sargent. You know, if you remember, there was an incident where he forced a turnover on the byline, the ball got put back in, and Sargent bicycle kick headed off the line by Danny Ings. That all came from Jacob Wright's ratting, basically. So very pleased to see him in that central role, and Forson and Schwartau. I thought he might go that way, and of course McCarma was going to get the nod without Sargent. Chris Garden is an interesting one. I mean, he said yesterday if he felt when he woke up this morning as he felt yesterday and he trained, then he would be involved, and he's clearly true to his word. So that's a rare shaft of positive news in what has been for about 12, 18 months, a sense that if the injury was going to be a bad one, it ended up being a bad one, and we'll take it. Because without Sargent today, if Chris Garden could even do 25, 30 minutes, then with his natural instincts in the penalty area, you don't know, that could come in handy today. So good. Positive, negative, obviously Sargent, but let's see what McCarma can do in that central role. He's certainly shown enough whenever he's been on the pitch this season, and I think he might relish playing down the middle today. There was an interview in the Club magazine about 6 weeks ago, and he said quite clearly he is a striker. That's how he sees himself. That's where he's come through at Lincoln. Here's an opportunity today without the main man. Go and grab it.
Yep, absolutely, and we also forgot to mention Jose Cordoba back as well, which is good. I think Philippe Clement was hoping to have Liam Gibbs back. That obviously hasn't quite materialised. No Shane Duffy at all in the squad today as well. I guess that's probably reflective of where he sits in the pecking order, Pad, with Cordoba coming back. And suddenly those defensive stocks look, we mentioned yesterday, he really wants some competition in those areas. Well, with Cordoba coming back, who's a player we know he said he liked, and he wouldn't quite, I don't think he's quite allowed to maybe talk through the Rangers stuff. But it was Rangers where he tried to sign him, which Norwich City obviously won the race for. So he is clearly a player that Philippe Clement likes as well.
Yeah, but I also liked in that answer that he acknowledged that and then said, and I think we'd all agree, you know, he positionally he needs to be better, he needs to make better decisions. So even in the relatively brief period of time he's worked with him directly, as it were, now he's got back to full fitness or to fitness. And Manning was trumpeting the same thing. There is a player of potential, no doubt about it. Athletically, you look at him, the left-sided balance, but it hasn't happened for him. And part of that is those injury issues, and feels like every time he goes off with Panama, he comes back stricken. So that's a little bit of bad luck from the Norwich perspective. But there's no doubt in, 15 months in the building, he's not pushed himself into what we all thought he would be, which would be a staple in the centre of Norwich's defence. let's see if this head coach can extract that from him. But Jose Cordoba needs to stay fit first and foremost, and then get him in past Darling and McConville, which at the moment it seems are his preferred two.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's bring up this comment from Benny. Brilliant to have a left back again. Obviously, Tony Springett has been deputised or standing in really in that position, not a position that he's played. Haven't played a Norwich City game for 2 years prior to last weekend's start against Watford, and I think it's always a little bit tough to criticise him too heavily, given the position isn't one that he favours, and given the context of his injury record and whatnot as well. But it was tough for him, despite, I think, lots of endeavour and lots of energy and hard work, Paddy. So to have Ben Crisene back, irrespective of how much he can play and how many minutes he can do. I mean, Clement said on Tuesday night he probably couldn't do 90. You would feel that would probably be the case again today. But even if he can do 60, even if he can do 70, it's a massive boost for probably the balance of Norwich City's play, where they've got a left footer playing on the left side, which is a bit of a luxury.
It is. And as we said with Cordoba, that's what they give you, those players. They can open out the play, and it's far more natural movement to come out to Schwartau as it would be today, and then get on the overlap of Schwartau. We've seen that from Crisene. He has those natural instincts. He wants to get forward. He wants to get to the byline. He wants to put balls in. That isn't Kellen Fisher in that role. It isn't Tony Springett in that role. It's him or Mahobo for me, and good news that Mahobo trained for the first time yesterday. So hopefully, we will get to the point we thought we were going to be at the start of the season before a ball was kicked, which was which out of Crisene and Mahobo are going to duel it out, come through, and be Norwich's first choice left back, a natural, established left back, not somebody who's maybe a square peg in a round hole. That's no disrespect to anybody who's gone in there, but I suppose you have to temper it a little bit. He's had these hamstring issues. He is only coming back. It's probably naive to expect him to hit the ground running today and look like Roberto Carlos, but I think just him in the side does offer that natural balance, and you've got McLean up that side as well with his left foot. So there's absolutely no doubt. I think it misses something when you're shuffling players around. I mean, we saw that crystal clear at Watford in the second half when Medic has to go in, and it's just an horrendous knock-on effect. And let's be honest, that probably contributed to that second equaliser at Vicarage Road. Whereas if you've got players natural and comfortable in the positions, it just makes things a lot easier. It makes Philip Clement's life a lot easier. So, good to see him back, and hopefully in very short order, Mahobo's there and nipping at his heels as well. Yeah,
and I was really gutted for Crisene about when that injury came. So I really thought he was beginning to show really significant strides actually in his performances, which is even more impressive when you consider the amount of time that he was out, and also the fact he hadn't really had a pre-season. He came in, I remember Blackburn away in that win, he was very, very good. And then I think it was a couple of weeks subsequently that he got that injury against Coventry. So really good to see him back. Hopefully he can pick up where he left off. But that balance, the natural, the fact he's going to be taking a touch towards the touchline rather than in field is, it's a small detail, but it makes a world of difference. Let's bring you the Southampton team as well, they're clearly in very good form at the moment. If you started the league table from November the 4th, they would be top. They've taken the most points in the last 7 games or so, and obviously a little bit rejuvenated under Tonda Eckhart. So here's how they line up. It's Bazunu in goal, Harwood, Bellis, Wood and Jack Stevens is their back three. It's Fraser, Downs, Janda and Manning as a midfield four, with Azaz and Cienza behind Adam Armstrong, who is scoring goals for fun at the moment in the Championship, as he so readily does. Their subbench: McCarthy, Kwashi, Edwards, Wellington, Romeu, Bragg, Aribo, Robinson and Archer. So that is how Southampton line up this afternoon. Tom Fellows, who has been playing at right wing back ahead of Ryan Fraser, doesn't make it, limped out of their win over West Brom, and obviously just hasn't quite made the trip. So Ryan Fraser comes in for him. Jack Stevens, very experienced, comes into their back line for Kwashi. And yes, that front three of Azad, Cienza and Armstrong have contributed to what has been a huge uplift in goals for Southampton in recent times. I think we had one earlier that said 21 goals or so in 7 games. I'll see if I can get that up. I think it's from Dubai Canary, which illustrates, here you go, Dubai Canary doing all our heavy lifting for us. 21 goals in their last 7 games shows you and documents just where they are at. They've certainly had some managerial bounce from that change. Back to Norwich, Paddy. I mean, we kind of touched on Jovan Makama a little bit earlier, but to go on him in a bit more detail, it's always a big thing when Norwich are without Josh Sargent. It's a huge deal. He is such an important player, and we can focus with strikers so much on goals, but it's the presence he has, the running he has, the work that he gets through. Even in that period where he hadn't scored goals for a significant period of time, he was still contributing. And I remember a game here recently where he gave the ball away and he was back in the right back position, winning it back pretty quickly. I think it was against QPR. He's a leader by example, isn't he, in terms of the way that he plays. It's always going to be big when he isn't in the side. But like you say, I guess for Jovan Kamma, he has to view this as a real opportunity to try and make his case as a centre forward, having not really played there this season.
No, has he? I mean, from the start, you have to tell me if he. I don't recall him starting a game at centre forward. So, yeah, he must be relishing the opportunity against good opposition in the league. Certainly, I'm trying to think about that Southampton League Cup lineup, whether he was down the middle at that point. But
it's Chris Goran, I think, wasn't it?
It was. You're right. Yeah, and he played well, albeit then he did contribute to their goal, didn't he? The first one when he gave it away here in front of us, just in front of the Barclay. But yeah, I mean, I haven't got the stats to hand, but what is he, 4 or 5 goals now in 15 or so appearances? You know, that, I think most of us would agree, was overachieving from a player who's come in. Certainly none of the hype that surrounded him that did Fiskard and Jallo and some of the other bigger name arrivals, you know, from Lincoln, project player, young player, there's potential, but raw. And you can see that still in his game. But my word, credit to that man. He has, maybe because of the injuries, navigated his way into the team a bit earlier, but he took it and he looks comfortable. And okay, you know, that was a bad miss at Vicarage Road when he ran through, but he makes things happen. That's what I like about him. And there were 2 or 3 other instances in that second half cameo where things happen. You know, there was that shot that keeper parries, drops down Sargent, looks like he's odds on to slot the rebound. It was a brilliant defensive block from Pollard, I think. But yeah, it's just when he's on the pitch, you feel, you know, they can play balls into him because of his size. He can hold it up. He can bring others into play. He's got that pace and that energy to get down the channels, power, dynamism. There's an explosive element to his initial trigger moves. And the goal record shows you he can finish. So, it'd be really good today if we walk away from here and it's a real sense that Jovan Kamma isn't just a stopgap, you know, in a non-Sargent scenario, that he can come in and he can actually... Okay, he's not Sargent, and as Clement said yesterday, he is the best number 9 in the division, in his opinion. Likewise, Manning said the same. Torrent probably said the same as well. So we're not comparing him on that level yet. But if the drop-off isn't vast, then I think that's a testament to Kamma. And at the moment, whenever he's come in, I think you'd say there isn't a huge drop-off from Sargent to Kamma, particularly in that 14 games when Sargent was struggling to get himself back on the score sheet. So, and, Forsen and Schwartau, and right there as well, very young 4 there, if you think about it. And that is what this club is trying to do. But there's a lot of, inexperience in that quartet. And I think maybe, we'll see how they go against a Premier League squad last season. And it'll be a good benchmark, I'm sure, for Clement and his coaching staff today. That can these talented players, yes, but unproven at this level, can they step up and really hold their own against, a team who are 6 wins in 7? And I think you'd be surprised now if they're not bang in the mix for automatic promotion for the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you think back to compare, not to compare him, but to compare maybe the pathway that he's taken here since arriving, I think there are some comparisons to make to Josh Sargent in terms of he's played a lot of games out wide. He's had to work his way into the team that way, and to be fair, that's where he played at Lincoln last season, where he had that really explosive spell towards the back end of the year that I'm sure probably alerted Norwich and several others to his qualities. We've kind of seen that journey before in terms of how a striker, if we're viewing him as that in the long term, can kind of get moving field and have a lot of joy. But clearly with someone like Josh Sargent, it's going to be very difficult for him to play a huge amount of games there. So I guess it's a similar process in terms of trying to get in lots of games, particularly at this level, but also in general, with a view to hopefully in the future him being ready to take that mantle when the day comes, if the day comes that Josh Sargent moves on.
Well, that day will happen at some point, and it could have happened this summer if he was receptive to a move to Wolfsburg, wasn't it? He goes, because Norwich as a club were on the same page. It was Wolfsburg, wasn't it? Yeah. Werder Bremen was where he came from, wasn't it, originally? Correct. So that could have been a scenario. Clearly, in that scenario, they would have been looking at Chris Gordon maybe being the one who took over that mantle. But you can have an idea, but if players come in and perform as he's done, then he is in the equation. We hope we're not countenancing something out of the complete blue in January with Sargent. I don't see that. I don't envisage that. Napa most recently at the AGM was very clear they don't see a world where Sargent moves on in January, but if it is to be maybe this summer coming now, if Kamma has really got himself in and around it and finishes on double figures, then yes, they'd have to go into the market again next summer, but you would start to think hopefully it's another season of Championship football, that Jovan Kamma could really stake a claim to be the main man, and that would be a testament to him really grasping his opportunity in his debut season at a higher level. And you never know when these players come in. You know, the opposite has happened with Jurasek and with Cernak, if we're being honest, pre-injury. You thought, well, these guys, given the pedigree, given the scale of the transfer fee, are really going to take this league by storm. It hasn't happened. The reverse is true with Kamma, who come in with far lower expectations. So, yeah, let's see what you can do. I mean, we all hope that Sargent is only out this weekend and that he's back leading the line at Preston, but I think his seasonal injury record would tell you that between now and May, there are probably going to be windows where he is unavailable. Yeah. And if that is the case, then it's going to be, hopefully, on you go, Jovan, based on what he's performed in a Norwich shirt.
Connor and Paddy, how do you see it going today? I think we've both kind of said how difficult a game we expect this to be for Norwich, given Southampton's form, given the upward trajectory they've been on under Tonda Eckhart, and it's been quite an impressive record since he took over. This is going to be a really good test for where they are, and if they can, like they did on Tuesday night, go toe-to-toe again with the informed team in the league.
Absolutely, yeah. I think they're going to win today. I do. I think they're going to win. I mean, the Southampton's last few games in that 7-game run, I mean, they've scored ridiculous bundles of goals, but they've let in quite a few as well. They're 3-0 up, I think, against West Brom earlier in the week, and they came back to 3-2 as it was. They hung on, but so that tells me they're a team who, yes, carry a threat going the other way, but they will give opportunities away. And I think we've seen enough from a Clement side that they will create chances. They need to take them. He was stressing that you can't really give them any opportunities. You can't make any mistakes. They're very good in transition. Their running power, their physicality, he says, is right up there in the league. So there'll be elements of the game Norwich will have to be good at. But back at Carrow Road, should be 6 points from 6 under Clement. They've done their jobs in the 95th minute down here against Oxford. I think there is a feeling, I sense, that this fan base are fully behind now what they're trying to do with this head coach and this group of players. So if they can give them something on the pitch, the fan base get behind them. Yeah, I can see Norwich shading a 5-goal thriller.
3-2. 3-2. You're more competent than I am. I think Southampton will have too much in attacking areas, and I think this could be a testing one today. So I think it's one of the first times this season we've gone for different score lines. But I'm going to go Southampton to edge it, but hopefully another improved Norwich performance, 2-1, maybe to the visitors today. And just finally, Paddy, because it's worth telling me. Hopefully everyone knows by now, but obviously the plan was for us after this game to do a live edition of our podcast that we do after every game anyway, and the podcast will still be happening, but the live element is on ice for the moment.
Yeah, really bad news there, Connor. Santa's let us down, hasn't he? And I know he's in Norwich because my lad was at his school fair yesterday, and I've seen a picture of him with Santa. So he's obviously pied us off, and without him, guest of honour there, then it's probably not worth us for you and Sam going on the stage. So all joking aside, we might have been a little bit ambitious. The Saturday before Christmas, lunchtime kick-off, trying to sell out the waterfront. So we hit pause. But we will pick it up again early in the new year. There's a date, I think, at the end of March where there's no Norwich game. I think it might be an international window. So we're going to hopefully maybe do something around then. But if you did get a ticket, it's not unappreciated. Thank you for that. Hopefully you have been contacted. And if you didn't, why not? And other than your Christmas excuses, but and we'll do it again. But and hopefully when we do get around to doing it, we're discussing no longer relegation in League One, but how brilliant is Philippe Clement and these players, and can they sneak into the top 6? That'd be nice. Yeah.
There's George Long over there. That's nice. Nice to see him back. There we go. Yeah. So unfortunately, that won't be ahead. And we should hopefully, if you did buy tickets, you should hopefully have been contacted to get your refund. So check your emails if you haven't already. Nice to see some optimism here as well. Benny going for a 3-2 win. Ali going for 2-2 as well. Let's hope that the Philippe Clement revolution can continue this afternoon at Carrow Road. It would be the first time that they would achieve back-to-back home wins at least since January if they could do that today. So let's see what happens here. Thank you very much for watching, for listening. We will be back. Well, Paddy will be speaking to Philippe after the game, and we will have all the coverage and analysis here from Carrow Road in the days ahead as well. Thank you very much for watching. We will see you again very, very soon. We'll leave you with, I don't know if you can hear them or not, but some very nice Christmas tunes over the PA system here. See you soon.